Good evening and welcome back to UINDY TV News. I'm Vanessa Sanchez.
And I'm Caden Colford. A United Nations Commission of Inquiry has found Israel's war on Palestinians in Gaza to be genocide. According to the BBC, the new reports say since the start of the war with Hamas in 2023, 4 out of 5 genocidal acts defined under international law have been carried out by Israel. Israel's foreign ministry rejected the report and announced it as, quote, distorted and false. Since October of 2023, nearly 65,000 people have been killed in Israeli attacks on Gaza, and an estimated more than 90% of homes are damaged or destroyed, with healthcare, water, sanitation, and hygiene systems collapsed.
The FBI is revealing new details about the assassination of right-wing political activist Charlie Kirk. FBI Director Kash Patel said federal agents matched 22-year-old Tyler Robinson's DNA to a screwdriver found on the roof of a Utah Valley University building. Patel said they also found a towel used to wrap the rifle in the September 10th shooting. Robinson had formerly expressed intention to harm Kirk, according to FBI Deputy Director Dan Bongino, and had become increasingly obsessed with the political influencer in recent years. Robinson was arrested last week and is being charged with 7 counts, including aggravated murder and obstruction of justice. Utah officials will be seeking the death penalty against him.
A new judge has dismissed terrorism charges against Luigi Mangione in the case of the United Healthcare CEO killing. Yesterday, Judge Gregory Caro said that although there is no doubt that the killing of Brian Thompson was not an ordinary street crime, New York law does not consider something terrorism because it was simply motivated by ideology, according to the Associated Press. The judge said there was also insufficient evidence that Mangione attempted to influence government policy through coercion, which is another aspect of terrorism charges. Mangione is still being charged with second-degree murder and will make his next court appearance in December.
On Monday, President Donald Trump signed an order deploying the National Guard to Memphis, Tennessee. He said that their effort to combat crime will aim to replicate the recent action that took place in D.C. Tennessee Governor Bill Lee supported the deployment, stating that he was, quote, tired of crime holding the great city of Memphis back. Memphis Mayor Paul Young said he was not happy about the National Guard's role. He proposed tasks for them, such as traffic control for events and beautification projects. Trump also mentioned other possible cities for National Guard deployment on Monday. These included Chicago, New Orleans, Baltimore, and St. Louis.
A third Save NASA protest took place Monday outside of NASA's Washington, D.C. headquarters. The protests are in response to President Trump's proposal to implement deep budget cuts to NASA. The cuts will slice their budget almost in half. If passed, the cuts threaten to dismantle key science missions, lay off thousands of workers, and shut down spacecraft that are still collecting data. Protesters argue NASA leadership is already acting as if the budget cuts have been implemented. Opponents to the cuts also say it threatens national security and the U.S.'s place as a leader in space exploration.
A deal with China to keep social media app TikTok operational in the United States is close to being finalized, according to Trump administration officials. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent said the framework for the deal has been established. Trump will meet with the Chinese President Xi Jinping to finalize it. Bessent said the priorities of the deal are to make sure China gets a fair deal and for it to respect U.S. national security concerns. A bipartisan bill was passed last year that would ban TikTok unless its parent company, ByteDance, divested its U.S. operations by a certain deadline, though several extensions for the divestment have been granted.
Well, it's a little hotter than it usually might be come mid-September, but there is also an air quality alert. Jace Hodge is with us to tell us about the weather today.
Yeah, guys, a little bit warmer than we've been seeing the past few weeks. 86 degrees outside, partly cloudy. The air quality alert is in effect throughout today and tomorrow as the ozone layers are a little bit warmer than we're accustomed to seeing. Some of that wildfire smoke coming in from Canada and the northwest United States area is bringing some smoggy air as well. So for those sensitive to the air right now, stay indoors if you can. But as we head throughout the night, 83 degrees at 7, sunset at 8. It will be 80 degrees and sunny, and we'll keep the warm weather going. So we look at the weather map currently. We see two systems of rain in the United States area. Neither of these will have any impact on us throughout the rest of the week. This low pressure system will fall apart as it makes its way to the east towards Indiana. From right here, this high pressure system will come down and cut this off, bringing some more dry weather as we get into the weekend. But I'll have that weekend forecast coming up in just a little bit, but first, some local news.
So the overall mission here at Flanner House Indy is to help with the development and growth, the self-efficiency and self-sufficiency of the near northwest side of Indianapolis. When the AA closed in the area that left the near northwest side a food desert. So Brandon Cosby, the executive director of Flanner House, started with the Flanner House Farms, where they grow fresh produce organically for the neighborhood around. And then later on down the line, Cleo's came about. So we're here to help with the sustainability of getting fresh food at cheap prices to the locals around. Black owned, black ran. That's the gist of Cleo's for the most part.
There's often a moment when you're helping somebody with math where they just suddenly get over that little barrier and they get it. It's a nice aha moment, and I really like being involved in helping students achieve that moment, and we do get a lot of those here in the tutoring lab.
Emma Donnan, elementary and middle school. Discover the Donnan difference. A school where you can celebrate others. Come together as a community. Be a part of a learning environment where students and teachers are appreciated. Emma Donnan, a culture that can't be beat, that's going onward together. A school filled with love. Emma Donnan.
I love my school.
The Indianapolis Police Department arrested an 18-year-old suspected of an October 2024 murder during an early morning traffic stop this morning. 26-year-old Jose Hernandez was killed during a robbery on the Far East Side last year. After an investigation, police identified Brittany Norton, age 33, and the unnamed 18-year-old as suspects. The 18-year-old evaded arrest until this Sunday. Norton was arrested in January and charged with murder, robbery resulting in serious bodily injury, and prostitution, according to online court records. Police said that the suspect was 17 at the time of the alleged murder. It is not known whether his charges will be transferred to an adult court.
2 firefighters are recovering from injuries after crews responded to the South Side building fire early Monday morning. The Indianapolis Fire Department was dispatched around 12:45 a.m. as firefighters encountered heavy fire at a vacant 2-story building. Crews had the fire under control within 15 minutes, and both firefighters are in recovery, and the case remains under investigation.
A Howard County judge is now permanently banned from the Indiana judicial system. After being charged for 9 counts of judicial misconduct in March, Matthew J. Elkin was found guilty on all charges last week, according to the Indiana Supreme Court. One person has come forward with claims of his mistreatment, one instance being a game that he called Game or Jail, where Elkin told the person if they lied, he would put them in jail. Elkin is banned from all judicial services, but is still able to keep his law license. By September 30th, he must turn in his registration to the governor and leave the office.
A southern Indiana family has one of the largest trees in the nation. Richard and Chris Shepman family farm, located outside of Crawfordsville, is home to a swamp chestnut oak. It has just been recognized as the largest of its species in the U.S., according to the National Championship Tree Program. The tree stands 95 feet tall, has a circumference of 318 inches, and a canopy spread of 118 feet. The tree is on private property and is not available for public viewing. Mike Braun recently joined the Indiana Department of Natural Resources leader to recognize the Shepman's care for the impressive tree.
The University of Indianapolis is hosting a free vaccine clinic on Tuesday, September 23rd from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. UINDY students in the community will be able to receive a wide range of shots, including HPV, influenza, hepatitis A and B, and others. The clinic comes as health leaders urge the public to stay up to date on vaccines due to increased outbreaks, such as the Texas measles outbreak earlier this year. The event is a partnership with the Indiana Immunization Coalition. For a full list of available vaccines and more information, you can visit UINDY 360.
The Kellogg's Writers Series kicked off last Thursday in UINDY Hall A with author Brittany Means. Here's Luke Cooper and Jillian Stiers-Barnett with the story.
I'm here at the Switzer Student Center here on the campus of the University of Indianapolis, where the Kellogg's Writer Series has kicked off for the 2025-26 academic year. It was a packed house in UIndy Hall A on September 11th when Brittany Means visited campus to read her memoir. I spoke with a student about the atmosphere of the event.
I think this is a really cool event put on by the English department here, and especially Professor Haney. Everything that he does for this program in the school and everything with bringing in these people that I think are really good writers.
I spoke with graduate student Ben about the preparation that goes into the Kellogg's Writer Series events, as well as the importance of student and faculty involvement.
Yeah, so I've been working with Barney and the rest of the Kellogg crew for this is my second year. What we do is we invite authors that we think would be valuable for students and faculty to hear about. We prep and read the books, obviously, and then set up close readings of their works. So I'm out here because I'm working with the crew, and it's been a great experience, yeah. I would just urge anybody that hasn't come out to Kellogg Writer Series event to definitely get out here. It's super rewarding, and you get to learn about really interesting people and get some really fun. You have a chance to win some prizes, win a free book. And yeah, I would definitely just say anybody that hasn't been to an event to definitely get out here.
I'm Luke Cooper reporting for UIndy TV News.
Thank you, Luke. Thank you, Jillian. Christian Moody, author of Lost in the Forest of Mechanical Birds, will be the next guest in the Kellogg Writer Series. You can be sure to catch him in UIndy Hall A at 7:30 p.m. on November 20th. As always, all events are free and open to the public, and LP credit is available for UIndy students.
UIndy was recently awarded a $2 million grant from the National Science Foundation. According to a UIndy 360 press release, the highly competitive grant from the National Science Foundation will be used to expand access to engineering, math, and data science degrees for students from low-income backgrounds. The first cohort of 9 scholarships at UIndy will be awarded to incoming freshmen next fall. It will provide students with up to $15,000 annually in financial assistance, mentoring opportunities, and academic support.
And with that, we'll go to Jace once again as he gives us the forecast looking later into the week.
Yeah, guys, the dry weather will continue. It's been announcing that there's an onset of rapid drought risk, about a 70 to 80% chance of some drought conditions across central Indiana starting today and lasting up until next Tuesday. And the only rain chances that we'll have will come between Saturday and Sunday overnight, but not very high, about a 30% chance of any rain shower Saturday to Sunday night. And this warm weather will continue, but we'll see a small cold front push down from the north. This will be in between Friday and Saturday, which is the reasoning for that about 4-degree differential. So things will cool off slightly as we head into Saturday. And for UIndy football, they're at home on Saturday. So the weather will be beautiful for you to go out to Key Stadium, 6 p.m. start against McKendree. But speaking of UIndy football, they got the win last week. We'll hear from Nate Long about that after this break.
We'll leave it to our actual athletes. Watch UINDY TV's live sports broadcast on GLVCSN and YouTube.
Are you feeling alone in your faith? UIndy Catholic gives you an opportunity to get involved in a religious community on campus, providing sacramental needs and fellowship for prospective students and giving you a sense of belonging.
We just want you guys to know that God loves you, He delights in you, and He's in awe of you, and we would love to meet you. So you should come on out.
UIndy Catholic, a community for you.
For children who may have high-functioning autism, may have ADHD, processing challenges, working memory issues, sensory integration issues, those types of challenges. It's a place where human beings are valued, children are respected. It's a progressive school that takes a hands-on approach to education.
There's no shot. He has time to make that throw. There's no shot he gets away from that.
He's that guy, dude. He is that guy. When it comes to football, Mr. Football ready.
Not a chance he escapes the pocket like that, gets out, makes a throw on the run on the dot. No
He's
way.
gonna do the same thing to Michigan. Watch it. 10-0 heading into Ohio State. I'm calling it.
You want to bet?
Let's do it.
I'm Caden Colford alongside Jay Kelton for college sports, pro sports, everything Indianapolis.
It's that time of year again, the best time of the year. It is football season, and for the UIND Greyhounds, well, they got the win 33-26 over the Ashland Eagles, ranked number 20th in D2 last Saturday. It was because of a great defensive effort by one named Danny Reuter. The transfer from Ball State had 3 sacks and a forced fumble, which was then picked up by Alvin Contreras, who took it back for one of his 2 defensive touchdowns. Other than that, wide receiver-wise, Alonzo Derrick had 129 yards receiving and really led the way offensively for the Greyhounds. In that fourth quarter alone, 19 unanswered points for the Greyhounds to get the win over the Eagles, like we said, 33-26. And like how Jace mentioned, McKendree for homecoming comes up this weekend, 6 o'clock start for that game. Moving on to some more football, the Colts were in action this Sunday as well against the Denver Broncos. And for this game, it was a back-and-forth matchup with a score of 21-20 coming into halftime with the Broncos up by 1. It all came down to the last 3 seconds where Spencer Schrader was up to kick a 60-yard field goal. It was a miss. Luckily for him, it was able to get a retry, if you want to call it that, with a leverage penalty called by the Broncos. So he scooted in, 15 yards and an easy 45-yard field goal, and the Colts take the win 29-28. For the Colts offensively, Daniel Jones with 316 passing yards and a touchdown, and Jonathan Taylor with 165 yards rushing. As we move on to the Fever will be in action tomorrow night after a win against the Dreams, 77-60 yesterday. They were tied 1-1 and is a best-of-3 series. Kelsey Mitchell, Leah Boston, and Natasha Howard combined for 46 points of the 77 yesterday. Again, 7:30 tip-off tomorrow in Atlanta for the Fever. But we're going to send it back over for some entertainment with Vanessa and Caden.
Thank you, Nate, for those local sport updates. Moving on to entertainment now, Emmy history was made this year at the 2025 award ceremony. Through the night, host Nate Bargatze regulated long-winded speech times by donating to the Boys and Girls Clubs of America. The amount would shrink every second winners ran over their speech limit, and every second saved would get back $1,000, including the contribution from CBS. Bargatze raised $350,000. 15-year-old Owen Cooper became the youngest male acting winner, taking home Best Supporting Actor in a limited or anthology series for his role in Adolescence. He encouraged others to take risks, saying, quote, "Tonight proves if you listen, you focus, and you take steps out of your comfort zone, you can achieve anything in life." Severance star Tramell Tillman became the first Black actor to win Best Supporting Actor in a Drama. He thanked his mother, who was his first acting coach, for his success, and stating, quote, "My first acting coach was tough, y'all, but all great mothers are."
Lions, tigers, bears, oh my, but what about tortoises? The Indianapolis Zoo welcomed giant Aldabra tortoises this past May, and they finally have a permanent home. Guests can now find AJ Lynn, St. James, Little Dot, Maud, and Morla, the giant tortoise exhibit, right next to the Deserts exhibit. Their new home is designed for comfort no matter what time of year, and it includes an outdoor yard so they can lay in the sun and explore. When the weather gets cooler, they can still keep their shells nice and warm in their indoor retreat, both spaces featuring a pool to support their natural behaviors. More information on the giant tortoise exhibit and tickets to meet these gentle giants can be found on the Indianapolis Zoo website.
Embarking on her first tour in over 6 years, Grammy-winning rapper Cardi B will be making a stop in Indianapolis. The Little Miss Drama Tour will stop by Gainbridge Fieldhouse as part of a 30-plus stop tour. It will be the rapper's biggest excursion to date. Tickets for the March 14, 2026 performance go on sale next Thursday at 10 a.m.
The Indianapolis Jazz Fest will wrap up this Saturday at the Everwise Amphitheater at White River State Park. The event features Brian Culbertson, Grammy winner Terrence Blanchard with the E Collective, Judith Hill, and Nicole Henry with Indie Jazz Fest All-Stars. The finale concludes a multi-week festival that began September 6th and has been held at venues across Indianapolis. Tickets for the finale start at $25 and are available at indiejazzfest.net. Vanessa, you know that I'm a pretty big jazz guy myself. This one might not be one to miss.
Really? I'm not really into jazz, but I'll trust your intuition.
Well, Cardi B's there too, and she's definitely going to be one to catch up.
Okay, I believe you. Well, thank you guys for tuning into UINDY TV News.
Be sure to follow us on Instagram and YouTube at UINDY-TV to stay up to date on all things sports, news, entertainment, and Greyhounds.
And as always, have a good night.
And be safe, Indy.